What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks. DJ Bucky with you. Buck, what's happening, man?
Not too much, DJ, man. Just love going through this stuff that we've been going through in terms of just looking at the teams, evaluating the roster, because training camp is right around the corner.
No doubt. This is going to be an abbreviated episode today. We are ripping through our championship foundation pieces. So if you don't remember, the way we do this is we get NFL research to kind of pilot this, and then we co-pilot it, which is a championship foundation consisting of a quarterback, 3 offensive playmakers, 3 quality offensive linemen, 2 pass rushers, could be 2 outside guys, 2 inside guys, or 1 of each, and then 3 playmakers from the back end. Anywhere from linebacker, safety, corner. We need 3 guys that can make plays for us there. So that's what we're looking at here as we work through this. We are on the NFC South. The colors, just to reiterate: blue is a blue chip player, meaning a top 5, top 10 at worst player at his position. Green is a really solid, dependable starter. Yellow has some type of concern, be it age, injury, or contract. So it could be going into his last year of his deal, coming off of an injury, or just a little bit older. Pink is an unproven young player. You're hoping is going to ascend to a green or maybe even a blue. And then purple is a young, unproven young player, but has blue chip potential. Really, that's kind of reserved for the rookies. It is the guys that were hopeful, but we have not seen anything. So those guys are going to be the color purple. You ready to roll?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
All right, here we go. Again, if you missed the previous episode, we went through the NFC East and the NFC North. Today, we're going to work through the South and the West. So let's start in the NFC South with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's start at the quarterback position. Baker Mayfield is a green. Mike Evans for the playmakers. Mike Evans, Rashad White, both greens. And then Chris Godwin is a yellow. We get to the quality offensive lineman. Tristan Wirfs, only 25 years old, is a blue. Gadecki is a green at 25 years old. Then you've got Graham Barton, the rookie, who I think is going to be a really good player. Obviously, he's a purple at this point in time. For pass rushers, you've got your choice between Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey, two totally different style of players there. And then you've got their greens listed as greens. Yaya Diaby and Chris Braswell would be pinks. Yaya Diaby played really well last year as a rookie. Braswell, we'll see what he looks like in his rookie season. You get to the playmakers. Antoine Winfield is a blue. Jamel Dean is a green, and Levante David is a yellow.
Yeah, man, this is a really interesting team to look at, right? So when we talk about the guys that are in the green category that can go up or down, Mike Evans, to me, is a guy that could be in that blue category. Just when you think about 9 straight years with 1,000 yards, he's a little older, but he continues to dominate on the outside. We have seen Chris Godwin play at a high level, and the 2 of those guys, when healthy and right, they can make a bunch of plays that can give you kind of one of those best tandems in football on the perimeter. And if you have that, then Baker Mayfield can move into a different category because of the supporting cast. So, and really, long story short, I'm saying the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have an offense that has the potential to be much better on paper if the pieces of the puzzle just come together and play really well.
No doubt. So if I'm gonna make a cut there on that list, when I look at having a couple extra names for those spots, I'm going to go still with Vita Vea over Kalijah Kancey. I love Kalijah Kancey and what he's going to be. He's going to develop into. But I'm going to give I think I might give Yaya Diaby, coming off that rookie year that he had. I might already put him in the green category, which might be kind of early for that. But I liked him and what he brought to the table there. Big time juice. Great tester. And someone who played well as a rookie. Let's get to the Saints, Buck. At the quarterback position, Derek Carr is a yellow at age 33. Alvin Kamara is a yellow at age 29. The other 2 playmakers, Chris Olave is a green, 24 years old. Rashid Shaheed is a pink. You get to the quality offensive lineman, Eric McCoy is a green. Ramczyk or Ruiz would be yellows. And then Tylisi Fuaga, one of my favorites in the draft, is a purple as a rookie. Get to the pass rushers, Cam Jordan and Chase Young. You've got 2 yellows for different reasons. You get to the pass rushers, the other spot, you got Carl Granderson is a green. The defensive playmakers, you've got Lattimore or Adebo. Those are greens. And then Demario Davis and Tyrann Mathieu. Choice of those guys would be yellows. And then you've got Kool-Aid McKinstry would be listed as he should be a purple, I would guess. There's this is a pink here, but I'm guessing he should be a purple.
Yeah, DJ, what's interesting, like most of the rosters that we've talked about on the last 2 podcasts, there have been a handful of guys that we can say, oh, well, this guy can be a blue, this guy can be a blue, whatever. this is one of the first teams that I'm kind of getting to it, and I'm looking and I'm projecting. I'm like, well, who can move into a higher category? And for the Saints, maybe Chris Olave could be that. I know there's a lot of love on the streets for Paulson Adebo as a cornerback. He can do that. So same with Marshawn Lattimore. But they're kind of a team that's just kind of stuck right in the middle. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't be a highly competitive team or a team that even somehow finds a way to win the division. But when you look at the talent long-term wise, DJ, they're one of these teams that are just kind of stuck like in no man's land.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to make an executive decision here. If we're talking about foundation pieces, we're obviously talking about building something. And I admire the career. Demario Davis is a great player, but he's 35 years old. I don't think you would say he's part of the building blocks for the future. So I think we should swap him out. Just put a Debo on that line, and a Debo should be a green. So that would be the move there. So that'll clean that up a little bit. And then
they're an old team, too, TJ. But look at
they're
old players. They're over 30 just in this conversation that we're talking about. We're talking about Derek Carr. We might as well include Alvin Kamara, Ryan Ramczyk, Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu. I mean, they're an old team. So a couple things are going to happen. Either they're going to load up for bear this year, and it's going to go great for them. But when they fall off, they're going to fall off the cliff because so many of their foundational pieces are older players.
Yep, 100%. All right, let's get to the Atlanta Falcons. Now you go from an older team to a younger team outside the quarterback position. Kirk Cousins is a yellow at 36. The playmakers, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, all greens, 22, 23, and 23 years old. Hopefully they make the leap this year. At least one of those guys gets his way into the blue category with better quarterback play. Offensive line-wise, the three guys you'd go with, Chris Lindstrom's 26. You've got Dahlman or McGarry, both those guys for one spot there. They're greens. Jake Matthews would be a green. He's 32 years old. You get to the pass rushers. This has been the issue. You've got Arnold Ebiketie at 25 or Ruka Rororo this year. Those guys are pink or purple. You get Grady Jarrett as a yellow. Those are your pass rushers. And your playmakers. Jesse Bates, I would say, should be a blue. He says it's a green here. AJ Terrell is a borderline blue, but he's a green. And then Clark Phillips would be a pink. So that's the group there. Obviously, they need those young guys on offense to at least one or two of those guys to ascend.
They have to, man. We've talked so much about the Falcons. I feel like for the last 2 years, we talked about, man, this should be one of the best offenses that we've seen. Like, look at all the weapons that they have on the outside. Kyle Pitts, Jake London, Bijan Robinson. Well, at some point, they have to take the next step. I am really hopeful and optimistic that Zach Robinson is going to do a really good job of putting this offense in a position to really make a lot of plays. But they're going to need the quarterback, whether it's Kirk Cousins or Michael Penix Jr., to help these other guys touch the ball enough where they can have an impact that allows us to say, hey, these are blue chip players.
Yep. 100%. To me, their whole thing is they need a pass rusher to emerge, and they need those offensive players to step up to where they were drafted, and hopefully the quarterback play helps them do that. Let's get to the Carolina Panthers. A pink there for Bryce Young at the quarterback spot, still 23 years old, man. Hopefully this is better for him this year. Offensive playmakers, Deontay Johnson, I'll put him in there over Thielen as a yellow. And then you're going to really rely on some of these young guys. You've got Xavier Legette, Jonathan Brooks, two rookies. Those would be purples. You've got Jonathan Mingo off last year. He would be a pink. Man, a lot of unproven players there.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to use Adam Thielen in this mix as a 34-year-old. And then the quality offensive lineman, Ekwonu. I guess we could make him he's a green here. I would argue he should probably be a pink. He's just been too inconsistent. Taylor Moton is a green. Then you've got Robert Hunt or Damian Lewis who came over. I think I might put both those guys in. I might take Moton out there and make those guys greens. And then defensively, pass rushers, Derek Brown, you could make a case as a blue. A very good green, if not a blue. And then you got Clowney, who is a yellow. And then the defensive playmakers, you got Josie Jewell as a green. Then you got Shaq Thompson and J.C. Horn as yellows. And again, J.C. Horn, that's just health. He should ascend to at worst a green, if not a blue, by the end of the year.
Yeah, no, so this is real interesting because when I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this team, you're right. It's a lot of unproven talent, a lot of guys that have a lot of potential, a lot of upside that you value. Bryce Young, Xavier Legette, you think about Jonathan Mingo, all young players. We don't know what they could be. And you're hoping that Dave Canales can put them in a situation where they can play well. the greens that we talked about, all on the offensive line. So if anything, the Carolina Panthers are going to improve. They're going to improve and eventually emerge as a team that's a viable contender because of their offense more so than their defense. So a lot of pressure on Dave Canales to get this offense up and going.
And no doubt. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We come back. We are going to rip through here. Again, this is a brief episode today. We're going to rip through the NFC West right after this break. All right, Buck, let's get to it here. The 49ers coming off a 12-5 season. Brock Purdy is a green. Truthfully, people can argue about it, on his way to a blue. If he has another year this year like he did last year, I'm done trying to make excuses for a guy's success, man. At some point in time, we just got to give him his due. But he's a green. Christian McCaffrey is a blue at 28 years old for one of the playmaker spots. You've got your choice here between Debo and Ayuk, both yellows for different reasons. Contract obviously being the reason there for Brandon Ayuk. And then George Kittle's still a blue, 30 years old. You've got offensive line-wise, Trent Williams is a blue at 36, no signs of slowing down. Colton McKivitz is a green. And then you've got Jake Brendel or Feliciano. Either one of those guys you want to pick would be a yellow. Nick Bosa is a blue on defense. Hargrave is a green on defense. Gives you the inside-outside there. And then you've got Fred Warner as a blue. You've got Charvarius Ward as a green. And you've got Hufanga or Greenlaw, both those guys coming off of injury. They're yellows for those reasons, but definitely have green, if not blue, upside.
DJ, say what you wish, man. They are the gold standard right now, personnel. Of all the people that we've talked about, all the teams that we talked about the last two podcasts in the NFC, this team has by far the most blues in their prime. And we can talk about some of them being older, George Kittle being 30, Trent Williams being 36, but they're still blue players. Brock Purdy should be in the blue category based on how he's played, so we shouldn't apologize for that. We can talk about Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk almost being blue chip players in terms of the role that they play within this team. This team is absolutely loaded, which is why they went to a Super Bowl a season ago. But, man, when you just think about where they are right now and where they could be in a couple of years, like the window is closing, but it's still wide open for the 49ers to win a Super Bowl.
It's interesting to me, if you compared the two teams that we've gone over so far in these two episodes, if you look at the rematch from last year's NFC Championship game, okay, you've got a little more – you've got the Blues with San Francisco that are – okay, they're still in their window, but they're moving towards the back of their window for some of these guys. Obviously, when we think about Trent Williams – George Kittle, like these guys are great players, have been great players, but age-wise, you're talking about a tackle who's an elite player, but is 36 years old. You're talking about George Kittle at the tight end position, who's 30. You think about McCaffrey running back age-wise, 28. Like that's you're getting there towards the back nine, so to speak. And then you look at the Detroit Lions. You look at their left tackle, Penei Sewell's 23. You look at their tight end, who's a big-time player, Sam Laporta, 23 years old. So, man, you look at the running back, Jahmyr Gibbs, 23 versus McCaffrey being 28. Like, we can look at it and say, okay, the Niners are a more talented team than Detroit. But, man, if you were betting on the future, if you want to say for this year, okay. But if you're going to say if I give you either of these rosters for the next 5 years, I'm taking Detroit, man. Like all those guys are still growing.
They are still growing. Like they are on the come. They're the young, hungry Lions. And when you just look at the way the game played out, DJ, that championship game, the Lions were whooping on the 49ers the first half, and they fell apart. And I would say it was more of a case, and 49ers fans can be mad at me, and I'm okay with this. It was more of the Lions giving the game away more so than the Niners winning the game. And look, that's a part of football. Like when teams turn the ball over, they don't make plays. That's what happens. But this Lions team is right on par with the Niners. And I can't wait to see them square off because you talk about two teams that are loaded. When we have gone through the list and mentioned the blue chippers, they're right there. And the Lions and the Eagles are the only teams that come close to challenging what the Niners can offer when it comes to the blue chip talent on their roster.
Yeah, this is what this exercise is all about, to kind of see some of these things as it unfolds. All right, let's get to the next team here, which is the LA Rams, coming off a 10-7 wild card berth. Matthew Stafford is a green at 36. Puka Nacua is a green, 23 years old. Kyron Williams is a green, 24 years old. Again, both those guys right on the cusp of being blues. Cooper Kupp is a yellow. coming off of an injury plagued season. You get the quality offensive linemen, Dotson and Jackson as greens, Havenstein as a yellow. Pass rushers, Kobe Turner and Byron Young. You could pick between those two guys. I think I might put each of those guys on the list, because the other two are the rookies with Jared Verse and Fisk. We'll see what those guys can do. Excited for them. But right now, Kobe Turner and Byron Young coming off outstanding rookie seasons. Kobe Turner led all rookies in sacks. So I'd say both those guys are greens. A lot of good young players there. Ernest Jones is a green as a 24-year-old playmaker. Cameron Curl is a green, 25 years old. And then the other spot, you have your choice between Tre'Davious White coming over at 29, or you've got Darius Williams at 31. So pick your poison there. But to me, I would put Jared Verse and Fisk. Love those guys talent-wise, but I think Turner and Byron Young deserve the two spots as their two pass rushers.
Yeah, they do deserve those spots. And what I will say in looking at this, like, they have a lot of greens. And so to me, the Rams are just a notch below the elite teams in the NFC based on their personnel, but they're good enough on any given Sunday to win the game based on how much talent they have. When you have as many greens as they have solid starters who have blue chip talent. They just aren't blue chip players either yet, or they were blue chip players that have come down just a little bit, but a very good roster. And when you add in the coaching element with Sean McVay and his staff, this is a team that can surprise. And so what I see is a very good team, a team that can get over 10 wins. And then once you get into the tournament, anything can happen.
Yep. Again, a team with a lot of greens needs guys like Puka or Kyron Williams to back up what they did last year. If they have the same exact year, they're going to be blues. They're going to be blues. So interesting group to look at. Seattle, Geno is a yellow. I'm guessing is that because of the age? I think we should make the adjustment, make him a green, or maybe it's because he's coming into the back end of his deal. But I think we should look at that one. DK is a green. Kenneth Walker is a green. Tyler Lockett is a yellow. Then the quality offensive line, you've got Charles Cross as a green. Abraham Lucas and Laken Tomlinson as yellows. Pass rushers between Boye Mafe and Leonard Williams, they're both greens. Byron Murphy is listed as a purple here, obviously, as the rookie. Excited about what he can do. And then defensive playmakers, you've got Witherspoon and Reek Woolen, both as greens. And then your choice there between Julian Love and Jerome Baker. They're both yellows. I would go Julian Love, and I don't know why he's a yellow there. I'll have to get clarification on that, but he's definitely a green player.
Yeah, you know what's interesting going into this, DJ, I expected the Seattle Seahawks just on paper to look like they were the next team, right? Like, just like I talked about the Rams being there. But when you look at on paper, there's a lot more questions around the Seattle Seahawks, more so than the LA Rams. What I will say, they got good players. Geno Smith's a good player. Tyler Lockett's a good player. You talk about Lucas and Tomlinson being good players, but I just don't know, can they get into that blue category? And then their green players are really good, but of the ones that we talk about, maybe DK Metcalf can get there. The other guys are really, really good players. Reek Woolen and Devin Witherspoon, they potentially can get there. But it's a little different seeing, because they don't have a standout blue chip player right now. They just have good players that are kind of stuck in that little spot where they're at.
Yeah, more about depth here. Really good players. I think Reek Woolen and Witherspoon, like you said, I think either one of those guys are capable of making the leap to go up into the blue category. I'm excited to see what Byron Murphy looks like. I will say, man, Laken Tomlinson did not play well for the Jets after coming over in free agency a few years ago from the Niners. Was not the same player. So they need him to give you a little bit more than that. Let's get to the Arizona Cardinals to round it up, round it all off here. Kyler Murray, coming off of when he got on the field, you saw flashes again of what he can be. Green player at 27 years old. James Conner, a yellow at 29. Marvin Harrison is a purple at 22, but man, he could go on the fast track from a purple all the way up to a blue once we get a chance to see him in action. Trey McBride is a green. So those are your playmakers there. Trey McBride, only 24 years old. Quality offensive lineman Paris Johnson, I think, is going to chance to be a green, if not, maybe even eventually better than that. Only 23 years old. He's listed as a pink. Jonah Williams is a green. And then you've got your choice. I think we'll go with Will Hernandez as a yellow there for those offensive line spots. And then pass rushers, Zaven Collins, a 25-year-old, is a yellow. And then you've got the young guys here as pinks with B.J. Ojolari and Darius Robinson as young guys, pink or purple. Your choice there. And then Budda Baker is a yellow as a playmaker. Jalen Thompson is a green, and then you get Garrett Williams, Max Melton, 2 young guys. You're looking at pink or a purple there.
Yeah, DJ, when you look at the board and you see a little bit of the fruit salad, like all the different colors, it kind of tells you that the team is in a rebuild. And I love what they're trying to do, and I like the competitiveness and the feistiness. But just from a personnel standpoint, a talent standpoint, they're just behind some of the other teams. That said, Jonathan Gannon and those guys did a really good job of making this team very competitive. And when you have a quarterback, you have a chance. Kyler Murray can elevate the offense on his talent alone. And if the offense plays at a higher level, they can win some games.
Yeah, and I mean, offensive playmaker wise, I think I might sub out. Oh man, I know James Conner has just been a rock steady player, but Michael Wilson I think is going to be a really good player for them. So I'm excited to see what he brings to the table as a young ascending player. I say that I want to pull up Connor's numbers. He had all the 7 touchdowns, 1,000 yards, but at his age, I think I'm looking at a guy like Michael Wilson coming off of a year where we saw him do some nice things there. Big, fast, physical. I think you see this young receiving core grow. They need those guys to be greens, if not better, by the end of the year. And I think if Kyler Murray, if those guys are greens, Kyler Murray's going to end up being a blue because he's just too talented, and that ability will end up shining through there. So, to me, when you look at that division as a whole, though, it does feel like San Francisco is just they're just head and shoulders above everybody else. I know they won the division by 2 games last year, but it feels like that gap is wider than that.
Yeah, no, it does feel like they have a sizable advantage over the competition within the division, and it also feels like they have a bit of an advantage over the rest of the teams in the NFC.
Yep. Well, there you go. I told you it was going to be almost a little speed round there, but we got through it. We knocked out those 2 divisions. We've got the NFC done. We've got Rhett coming up on the next episode where we are going to dig into the Manning Passing Academy and what he saw there. And then next week, we will knock out those 4 divisions in the AFC. So we will have all this championship foundation stuff done and in the books. And we'll be sure that I believe NFL Research will be posting these, and we'll have some good conversation online about it. So hope you guys have enjoyed it. We appreciate you hanging with us, and we'll see you next time right here on Move the Sticks.